Hello, Zija Nation. I'm Dr. Joshua Plant, Chief Operating Officer for Zija International and also Chairman of the Zija Product Advisory Council. And I'm sitting here today by myself. I wanted to take a few moments and talk about an issue or an area that is often overlooked with respect to supplementation, and that is mental wellness. And so today I want to talk a little bit about how we can all, which we all need to do, improve our mental wellness and what that takes into consideration. It is absolute a pleasure. I love doing this call each and every week to where we can talk a little bit about the success stories of people overcoming health challenges that they may have had, weight loss, how to incorporate natural products in lieu of toxic chemicals in our lives, how we can beautify ourselves, how we can increase confidence, and then this week where we can talk a little bit about mental wellness and what that means. So just a few stats to kind of prepare us for this call today, and I want to again thank everyone for joining. It is estimated that over 18% of Americans suffer from one form or another of mental illness, nearly 1 in 5 individuals. Approximately 12.5%, 1 out of every 8 people over the age of 45, suffer from decreased memory function to the point it impairs their daily activities. Mental fatigue is the most commonly associated reason for lack of productivity and performance, whether it be at home or on the job. So there's 3 areas in which I want to kind of address that can have the greatest impact with respect to our mental wellness. Those 3 areas are 1, an active lifestyle or exercising, 2, diet, and 3, acute supplementation. I'm going to read some scientific articles, what they say on these things, and how we can use natural products to aid us in having better mental wellness. So let's talk on the first one, exercise. To me, this is the greatest giver with respect to mental wellness. It has been studied extensively, not only for the physical benefits, but also for the mental benefits. And there's just a plethora of studies, and I encourage everyone on this call, go to pubmed.gov, research exercise and mental acuity, exercise and intelligence, exercise and test scores, and you will just find a plethora of data supporting just how beneficial this is, that this is, in my opinion, the most powerful prescription we have to improve our mental wellness, but it's never used enough. So the first thing, the blues. Do you know that several studies have actually indicated that exercise is just as powerful or more powerful in overcoming the blues than potentially many prescription medications? The article, Physical Exercise for Late Life Depression, Effects on Cognition and Disability, came to the conclusion, and I quote, adding aerobic progressive exercise to antidepressant drug treatment may offer significant advantages over standard treatment for cognitive ability and disability. These findings suggest that even among older patients, exercise may constitute a valid therapeutic measure to improve patients' outcome. Another article entitled A Randomized Trial of Aerobic Exercise on Cognitive Control in Major Depression. They came to the conclusion, and I quote, an 8-week moderate intensity AE program is associated with improved neural indices of conflict monitoring and reduced depressive symptoms among individuals with MDD. And there's just many more studies out there. And so for individuals that may be suffering from the blues, maybe seasonal affect disorder, as well, we're coming into spring now, but for later in the year as we come into fall, winter, find ways to exercise, whether it be inside on a treadmill or outside. Put on the coat, walk around the block. Get that heart rate up a little bit so that you get those endorphins moving throughout your body. It is a powerful tool in helping to overcome the different blues that you may be facing. 2 is exercise increases one's confidence. One of the greatest challenges we have is lack of confidence in ourselves. And there are numerous studies showing just how powerful exercise is in increasing our own self-confidence, which is why many of you that go to the gym will spend so much time taking selfies afterwards. Just joking. But several of these things, they've linked exercise to increased well-being through the endorphins that are released, through physical health and appearance. You like the way you look better. A change of mindset, as we mentioned before, kind of overcoming the blues. Studies have shown that it is a reliable anchor, and that the more reliable anchors you have in your daily life, the more confident you are. And what is a reliable anchor? It is something you have control over. And so exercise is something that you have control over each and every day that you can set to. That ultimately gives you more sense of confidence of accomplishing things. And then socializing. It is a great way for us to socialize and to meet other people, which also increases one's confidence. Another benefit of exercise with respect to mental wellness, and this comes from Harvard Medical School, is it can increase one's attention and concentration. And I'll just read a little bit from this. There's a lot you can do to prevent cognitive decline or slow it down, or recover memory function that you might feel you have lost. This is from Dr. John Ratley. He's a professor there at the Harvard Medical School. One key strategy is regular, moderately intense exercise. It helps maintain healthy blood pressure and weight, improves energy, lifts mood, lowers stress and anxiety, and keeps the heart healthy, all of which contribute to brain health. But exercise also stimulates brain regions, and this is key. It also stimulates brain regions that are involved in memory function to release a chemical called brain-derived neurotrophic factor, or BDNF. BDNF rewires memory circuits so they work better. When you exercise and move around, you are using more brain cells, which in turn turns on the genes to make more BDNF. And here's just a quick composite study, and I just want to kind of show you just how effective exercise is in actually increasing brain activity. This is just after a moderate 20-minute walk, and this is before. This is from Dr. Chuck Hillman out of the University of Illinois, to where he looked at this and did the composite. And you can see the increased activity after just a 20-minute walk. And what this does is this will then create those neural signals that then promote and protect the brain and then can increase concentration and memory. So very important that you get out and exercise for that. Now, here's something else that's also a little bit groundbreaking. Exercise can also produce brain cells. And this is very important for those that are watching that may have had a little bit too much partying time in high school. There is hope for you after all. Exercise can bring back those brain cells that you may have lost. It has been a long-held belief for the longest time. In fact, it was kind of taught up until almost my second year in grad school that these results started to come out, that brain cells actually could be formed as an adult. For the longest time, it was taught that once they're gone, they're gone. Here's a Science Daily article that highlights just how effective exercise can be in actually creating brain cells. Aerobic exercise, such as running, has positive effects on brain structure and function. For example, the generation of neurons, or neurogenesis, in the hippocampus, a brain structure important in learning. It has been unclear whether high-intensity interval training, which is referring to short bouts of high-intensity exercise, has benefits, but nonetheless, aerobic exercise has been shown to be exceptionally effective in increasing brain structure, function, and neurogenesis in the hippocampus in adults. And so go out, have that aerobic activity to improve cognitive function, but also to increase brain cells. So, as we mentioned before, step one, exercise, critical part of mental wellness. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is diet. Diet is very often overlooked. We usually associate diet with respect to the way that we look, not realizing that it also has a very significant impact in the way in which we think or learn. Here's one of my favorite studies that I love to kind of remind people of. Fast food. This was a longitudinal study over about 3 years where they looked at thousands of fifth graders and they monitored their fast food consumption and their test scores later in life at 8th grade. And they showed that fast food consumption is tightly correlated with test scores, meaning the more fast food you ate, the lower test scores you had. In fact, the students who were the quartile of students that ate the most fast food were 20% lower in their average test or in their test scores than the average. And this is something that is very interesting because so often when we look at school lunches, when we look at the after-school snacks, they are promoting things that are actually affecting our children's attention and learning capabilities. And when you look at the contrast, there have been several studies that have shown diets that are enriched in plants, fresh fruits, whole foods, you see significantly increased test scores. In fact, there's a study that says nearly 2/3 of those who do not report daily mental health problems eat fresh fruit fresh fruit every day, compared with less than half of those who do report daily mental health problems. This pattern is similar for fresh vegetables and salad. Those who report some levels of mental health problems also eat fewer healthy foods, fresh fruit and vegetables, organic foods, meals made from scratch, and more unhealthy foods, chips and crisps, chocolate, ready meals, and takeaways. Another study shows that there is an 80% increase in the likelihood of depression for those who are not on a whole food, plant-rich diet. Meaning, if we are able to eat more plants, more vegetables, more fruits, more whole foods of the botanical nature, we are 80% less likely to develop depression and other mental problems. And so a big thing that's often asked me is, how do you balance macros? And when I refer to macros, this comes down to your carbohydrates, your proteins, and your fats. And the thing is it's important to actually have all three. Right now it is a very popular fad, and it is effective with weight loss, of a high protein, high fat diet. The problem is we often overlook and we look at carbohydrates as bad. Well, carbohydrates actually are the only source of fuel that your brain can use. Your brain really struggles to use proteins or fats to function. And so individuals that are on a low carb diet are usually more agitated, and that is because their brain is highly irritable, so to speak, because it is so starving for nutrition or energy. Additionally, carbohydrates are very important for the production of serotonin, which is the hormone that helps calm us, which is often why when people are anxious or have a little bit of anxiety, that they crave carbohydrates. It may be so that their body can produce more serotonin. And so when you eat carbohydrates, get whole grain carbohydrates. That is going to be the best. Don't look at sugar as an excuse to getting your carbohydrates. Look for whole grain carbohydrates. Your body will break those down slowly into glucose that your neural cells can readily use to produce serotonin and also to fire those neurons for cognitive function. Now, you're also going to need proteins. Proteins are critical to help limit mental fatigue. Proteins are also critical for dopamine, which is a neural signal that is responsible for feeling happy, joyful, and also for alertness. And so you're going to want to get proteins. And what I mean by proteins is you're going to want proteins that are enriched in the amino acid tryptophan. That is an essential amino acid that very few botanicals actually are enriched in. One of those is Moringa oleifera, and we have significantly put Moringa oleifera in the plant protein there. And so if you're looking for that tryptophan, it's going to be very critical to help promote alertness, dopamine, and a variety of other things. It's very, very important. And also fats are also important. Fats, the essential fatty acids, omega-3, 6, and 9, which are found in Moringa oleifera, are very critical with respect to promoting brain health, helping to remove a lot of what are called the prions, which are kind of the gunk that can build up in cells that can impair mental acuity and memory. Those essential fatty acids are critical in helping to make sure that they don't accumulate too fast. And studies have shown that in children that are on a high essential fat diet also perform very well in school. And so balance your macros, get those macros in. You can find them in a variety of botanicals. I myself love Moringa oleifera because it's enriched in all of those things. You can get it in one easy source. Now, you're also, with respect to mental wellness, you're going to want to exercise, you want to diet, but there's certain tricks or tools that you can use with respect to acute supplementation. And I'm going to just throw out a few really quick here. Studies have shown that peppermint essential oil can help when it's diffusing in the classroom, can help improve test scores. It helps children kind of focus a little bit better. Ylang-ylang essential oil in waiting rooms at doctor offices, it will often be used to help kind of limit the anxiety that is felt as people are waiting in a waiting room at a dentist's office or so forth. Diffuse that. And one thing that we really didn't mention too much on this call is sleep. It's very critical. But in today's overstimulated society of phones and tablets and televisions, it is hard for us to have a proper sleep schedule. Lavender essential oil is a great way. Simply put a few drops on your feet, rub them in at night. I actually will put a drop on my pillow at night, especially as I travel from hotel to hotel around the world. It is a way that it can help program your brain through the olfactory response and help calm it down and help your body begin to have a good night's sleep, especially the REM sleep, to where you get that rapid eye movement, you're able to form memories, you're able to remove a lot of that gunk that builds up, and you can have a good night's sleep, which a lack of sleep is one of the greatest correlators to dementia and Alzheimer's later on. So make sure you get that sleep and supplement not with chemicals, addictive compounds to do that, but use nature's tools, and lavender is one of the best of them. So I hope you all had a quick educational moment about how you can improve your mental wellness, learning, memory, outlook. All of these things are very critical in that you have control of these things. And that's really what this natural health revolution is about. It is about empowering the individual that you do have control of your health and wellness. That you don't have to be subject to an overweight lifestyle, that you don't have to be subject to a lifestyle to where you're constantly struggling to find the right word, or a lifestyle that is limiting your years left with respect to the ability to function at a high level. Understand that you have control. Exercise, diet, and proper supplementation and the removing of toxins of our life are critical in helping us do that. Thank you so much for joining me on this Natural Health Revolution call. I hope you were able to get a few tidbits of information, and I look forward to hearing your success stories and seeing you next week. Thank you so much.